From the Australian Gold Country rises Mount Panorama. Traversing up its southern face, across the summit and down its eastern slope is a concrete line thin ribbon of asphalt. Tie in a couple very long straights, a pair of tough 90-degree left-handers, and a few other tricky curves to navigate, and you have the 4 miles of racetrack known as Bathurst, today's venue for the penultimate round of 8 on the Absolute Beginner League's Formula Neagle Season 13 schedule. G'day, mates, and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel and Countdown to Green. Way up in the press box to bring you our Words Eye View is yours truly, Bill Soupson, alongside of Adam Young. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, our director Joe Peak, armed with cameras located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by GSRC's camera guru, Dougie Beard. As cyberspace flows into your place over these 15 streamy award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate the 45 minutes of simulated Skip Barber racing that will immediately follow as we count down to green. It has been 48 races, 23 months since Formula Neagle came to Bathurst, way back in round 2 of Season 8. As so often is the case for Mount Panorama, the busiest person was Anthony of Lisbon, the patron saint of lost things, as 16 of the 25 drivers who gridded were missing from the lead lap come the checkered flag. Johan Hallberg got the win on the way to his only championship. As for current drivers, Errol Num took third, followed by the two stupid dog teammates of Vincent Bream and David Burns. So, since it's been so long since we've been here, how about a reminder? Let's go ahead and bring in Adam Young.
Yeah, you know, Soup, this is one of my favorite racetracks in the world. No, I mean, not just in iRacing or anything else. I mean, this place always puts on a good show, whether it be the V8 supercars or the 12 hours of Bathurst, or today, the Skip Barber machines. Of course, we're running the full layout, 23 turns over the course of 4 miles, or 6.213 kilometers for everybody outside of the U.S. And, of course, if you know Bathurst, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's a street circuit. I mean, those concrete walls, they're only a little bit off the asphalt. There's not a lot of runoff in a lot of places, and that's led to some spectacular moments in races here throughout the years. Of course, the V8 supercars are probably, well, I guess now just supercars, are probably the most well-known vehicles that race around here, but you see literally everything from GT3 cars in the 12 hours of Bathurst and going on. But, you know, one of the biggest things we're going to have to worry about here today, as in most races here, is going to be very early on in the race. At the top of the hill, things can close up in a hurry if there's an accident. But don't just take my word for it. Let's ride along in the GSRC Skip Barber machine, and when we get to the top of the hill, just look how narrow things are up there.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Skippy, so let's do a lap around Bathurst. Coming up the hill corner, you're faced with one of the most important turns on the track straight away. It's a simple 90-degree bend, but the long climb up the mountain straight means it'll be critical to not lose your momentum on exit. Though keep in mind, in these little underpowered skippies, it's no guarantee you can run away. The draft in these cars is so powerful that it's not uncommon to see passes executed from over half a second behind. Thinking about when to pass will be just as important as if you pass. Still, you do have something of a tricky corner coming up at the end here. Griffin's Bend is uphill, but it's very easy to understeer, and the combo of the curb and the wall to the outside means you can send the car to that concrete barrier in a hurry. Now we drift across the track to get set up for the cutting. The kink at the entry adds even more difficulty to this incredibly steep corner. Carrying your speed up and around this bend is going to be key to a good lap time. As we continue to climb up Quarry, you'll keep your foot to the floor and easily see why all that momentum was so important. Coming over the crest, we'll reach Reed Park, and then it's into Frog Hollow, all the while trying to straighten out these left-handers as much as possible. Flirt with that outside wall as close as you dare. Now we're at the highest point of the track over this crest by Sulman Park. From there, you'll make a little lift through McPhillamy Park, then switch sides and line the car up for Skyline. With no visibility heading in, you're hoping and praying that anyone who wrecks won't be on the racing line. Get off the power, steady the car, and put the binders on to slow her up for the dipper. You can hear the car bottom out, which can be a danger to unsettling it, but there's no time to rest as we weave through 16 and 17. Here we have another tricky curved downhill braking zone into Forest Elbow. This corner is deceptive and requires a late apex to get right. turn in too early and you'll suffer all the way down the Conrad Straight. This is the mirror to the mountain straight, but much faster. Just like before, it's prone to draft battles, so drivers will have to decide if they want to make the move now or wait until later. Now we'll start to bring the car over to the left. There's a bit of pavement here that lets you really open up the entry to the chase. You want to use it to give yourself a nice straight line to brake in. And here is really one of your best spots for an overtake. The wide open chicane slows the car up and then rises over a crest. Plenty of drivers have sent it sailing off into the gravel though, so make sure not to miss your brake marker. From there, it's a short stretch to Murray's Corner, which is again a simple 90-degree left-hander. But show some respect to that inside curve because it's taller than you would expect and can easily unsettle your car. Hopefully, you kept in one piece over the mountain and you finished a lap around Bathurst.
There's a lap around and up and down Mount Panorama. Now, the only rises and falls when we take a lap around the point standings is going to be the pitch in my voice as I get excited about a point race that has grown tighter. Within striking distance of 5-time champion Errol Num for Bushfink Pink is Johan Vandervelde. The Sea-Bottom Racing driver is coming off a win at Oulton Park, the 6th win in the Fan Belt's 50-race career, and ending a 27-race winless streak. Now, the Slovene machine, Patrick Fliss, was a no-show last round, allowing Vandervelde and Two Stupid Dogs driver, David Third Degree Burns, to move up a spot each. The season's top rookie, Wanderlust Racing's Timo Vascalampi holds station in 5th. Let's look at the team championship. And again, it is Burns and Bream. For Two Stupid Dogs, they now have a strong hold on first place. They had a great race last time out. Remember, they went 4th and 5th, right behind Num the last time that Formula Legal came to Bathurst. So look for them to be strong again today, as Two Stupid Dogs looks to be in good shape with only one race to go. Sea-Bottom Racing making a move up 2 spots. With a little trouble last time out from the Roland Estonian Errol Num and Frederick Neptune not chipping in all of the points that he usually does, Bushfink Pink falls down into 3rd. Wanderlust Racing is in 4th. And, you know, maybe getting a little bored after so many championships as Mama Jean Racing certainly not having their effort. This might be a little bit of just feeling like we've been there, done that. Okay, we've talked about the track. We've gone over the points. Let's go ahead and talk about the event details. Adam?
Yeah, you know, of course, it's been quite a while since we've been to Bathurst, as you heard Soup say earlier on the show, way back into Season 8. Well, now we're in Season 13, and, of course, only one race to go after today. That's how the series works, round 7 of 8, with no dropped races. So every race counts, and you talk about the Mama Jean Racing luck with Tuan Tran, not had a lot of luck this season at all. We're going for 45 minutes here for today. These are open setups that are limited on fuel, so they make sure that we do get a pit stop out of today. And of course, there is that 18 incident cap, which, Soup, that's one thing, the incident caps that usually don't come into a play here at Bathurst, because it doesn't take a lot of incidents and a lot of wall contacts before your day is just done before you have a chance to get up that high.
Kind of a self-policing racetrack here. Yeah, you go off track here, you're usually into what I called up there, one of those, the concrete lining that that kind of keeps the track boundaries very, very unforgiving. Now, with lap times of about 2.5 minutes in this Skippy series, organizers have extended the qualifying an extra 5 minutes so that everybody can get in their qualifying laps. We're looking at Josh Brain right now.
Yeah, and of course, Josh, right now, they'll be racing on a racetrack, qualifying on track along with everybody else. Track temperature's pretty warm out there, Soup, at 109 degrees, winds out of the northwest at 12 miles an hour. Now, what I'll tell you is I was out there practicing just a little while ago with these guys, and I did trash a couple of the GSRC Skippy machines. You know, I got to keep our mechanics' paychecks worth it. So I made sure I gave them some work out there against some of the concrete barriers. But I noticed that even though the track temperature is really high, track didn't feel slick out there. And usually with the high wind at 12 miles an hour, high for iRacing anyway, I felt like I'd be moving around a little bit because of that, but I really wasn't. This car, at least to me, felt actually kind of stable around here from my previous experience. Of course, I've done a couple of full-length races here with the majors and stuff like that, and the supercars, and it's a different animal. I think we'll actually see some drafting take place here today, Soup.
I wonder if also it feels a little bit stable, maybe this is going to seem kind of silly, but maybe going up the mountain because of gravity, maybe it just doesn't have the same oomph that the normal race car would.
Soup, gravity is 9.8 meters per second. Always going in a. Well, never mind.
All right,
I'll be nice.
That was good to know. Qualifying times coming in. You're looking at David Third Degree Burns. He put in a 2:29.9. That's good enough to put him in third position. Our pole sitter, the pending pole sitter, is Errol Num, 2:29.8.
How about Euro's luck last time out 2 weeks ago, blowing that engine on that downshift? And that's something I think it put a lot of people on notice, because I think that one thing you'll see is that even though it feels like these cars are running stable, there's a lot of downshifts that are going to happen here, particularly across the top of the hill. So that's a new thing that these cars are going to be susceptible to, blowing engines on downshifts. I think a lot of guys are paying attention to that.
What I thought was interesting in his interview, he said, it's never happened to him before. It's not like he felt he did anything wrong. It just decided to go. Hey, how about this? Patrick Fliss is back, sitting fourth in the points right now, sitting second in qualifying. The Slovene machine, always fast. His first lap was a 2:29.90. That compared to the 2:29.8. Well, 8.7 by Errol Num. But let's talk about the Portuguese driver, Diogo Francisco. He came in, put in a faster lap. He was on the pole for about 3 seconds. He's now in third.
Yeah, look at how much these lap times have started to fall off here already. These guys, I believe, are on their third lap now, and you're seeing these lap times now drop by tenths of a second at a time here. So it's going to be very, very interesting, I think, to see what eventually the pole speed's going to be.
A new name that we can take a look at is car number 2, currently in 6th position, Felipe Calderon. Always good to see new names coming in. That's what keeps the series fresh. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I don't want to use any more cliches, but there is talk that maybe the Skippy might be thinking about going a different direction next season. It's still very unofficial. Looking down there at some other names.
Yost Young, he joined us last time out there a couple of weeks ago. I believe that might have been his first race in the series, so good to see him come back. Apparently he liked it enough to go ahead and make the trip out to Australia and Bathurst here.
Currently in 7th position.
One guy that's really far down the charts here so far that surprised me, we talked a little bit about him earlier and having such bad luck, is Tuan Tran. Tuan Tran already coming in at 15th on the charts and just does not seem to have the pace here so far today.
Yeah, just Tuan, always a good practicer, clearly just not putting in the practice time. He's a former champion, has the Season 6 championship. Adam is qualifying. It's just about done. Before we go to that, is there enough time going up and down the mountain that maybe some of these technical guys can break the draft out of Forest Elbow and maybe not, maybe we won't see a long train race like we usually do?
You know, with the combination of the two extremely long straights here, and I don't think that even the uphill section of this portion of this course is going to be enough to break it. Now, I think what will happen is, I think really the biggest hope for breaking the draft and the packs is going to be the downhill sections. We still have to see, though, because at least when I was out there riding around, everybody felt pretty close to that. I think we might see a drafting day at Bathurst with this car, and that's just something you usually don't see in these machines. At least at this track. I mean, you always see them with these machines in other places. I mean, like Spa, for instance, but not really at Bathurst, like I would think.
Let's go on board with Vincent Bream right now. He's currently qualified in 11th position. And he's on this long back straight that goes down. You come out of Forest Elbow and you get down into one of the most fun passing zones maybe here as they get in to the chase. It's kind of a chicane. You'll see it coming up right here. And this might actually be a two-wide situation as we ride on board with Vincent.
I think in this car, Soup, you just hit the nail on the head. I think you can go too wide through there with the Skip Barber being kind of as narrow as it is and as well under control as it is. It shouldn't be a problem.
Now, here's the final corner. This is Maurice corner. And there's a little bit of room. The start-finish line comes pretty quick, but if you can be side by side, it's a drag race down to the start-finish line, which is right here. There it goes. Not a lot of time. And then what's interesting is the first corner is this left-hander is coming up, and Vincent puts in that lap of his best time is a 2:30.1. He's going to be in 9th position. Looks like all the qualifying is just about done, and there's still about 4 minutes left to go before they go to green. So why don't we take this opportunity to take a short break and allow you guys to go to the kitchen, get yourself a little Vegemite sandwich in honor of the venue today, and we'll be back before they grid up. You're looking at Tuan Tran trying to put in a final qualifying lap. He currently sits in 6th. Not sure if he's going to be able to better his time. You're watching the Absolute Beginner Leagues Formula Neagle here on the Global SimRacing Channel, round 6 from Bathurst. And Tuan does come across, and his lap time is...
I wonder if he ran a little bit too far wide there. Is it going to count?
Not going to be good enough. So let it go ahead to the grid right now. I think this is pretty official. On the front row, it is no surprise to see these guys, the Rolling Estonian Aero Num and David Third Degree Burns.
Yeah, next up in row 2, you're going to find Piers Cocky and Diego Francisco making a strong up toward the front run here today.
Slovene machine, Patrick Fliss, is in 6th, flanked by Tuan Tran.
How about Tuan Tran getting up to 6th after being in 16th and 12th for a little bit in qualifying. In row 4, you'll find Felipe Calderon and Joost Junk, a couple of newcomers.
Top rookie Timo Vascalampi in the 9th position inside of Vincent Bream.
Row 6 is going to belong to the fan belt, Johan van der Belt, and now GSRC co-commentator Hugo Hernandez Gutierrez is going to be starting outside him.
In the Baker's Dozen spot, it's Bastian Hausman. In 14th, Kurt Krum.
In row 8, Henrik Kamara, and then Mikael Hoffadezen.
Nico Roman and Floris Bashar make up the next row.
Rob Adams and Michelle Rugenranker to make up row 10.
In blackjack, it's Edgar Sanchinelli. In the double duck position, Ari Sejas.
And then on the next row, you'll find Thomas Kick and Josh Brain.
And then with Brain without a qualifying time, as does Colin Reese and Kevin Mills. 26 names on the entry list, 23 put in qualifying times. Here for the penultimate round of season 13 in Formula Neagle, sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League. It is Errol Num with the championship lead, but it's much closer than it was before. The man who is chasing her, though, Johan Vanderbilt, all the way down in 11th.
Yeah, we all thought Eero Num was going to start to run away with the championship. That blown engine there 2 weeks ago, Soup, that really changed things.
Yes, it definitely did. There were not a lot of tears shed for the multi-time champion as that engine blew. Drivers beginning to grid up under this southern hemisphere sun. Time of day, it's a morning day here. Morning race in Australia. You can hear the engine start to harmonize. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and it is the Rolling Estonian Errol Num leading that stampede to the 90-degree left-hander that is corner number 1, Hell Corner. Now they go up the main straight. Burns, Cocky, Francisco, and Fliss. Go ahead, Em.
Yeah, usually at turn 1 at Bathurst, you don't see a lot of problems, and indeed we don't. Everybody gets through there. It's going to be coming up here to turn 2, this fast sweeping right-hander that we're going to see our first round of problems. It'll be right here coming up, Soup.
Everybody up front is experienced. They know the rules. They all stay in line. The first time they go 2 by 2 is back in 11th position. Vanderbilt in a battle with Vincent Bream. Bream is going to get the best of that. Vanderbilt continues to drop as they head into the cutting. Oh, they are still 2 wide. Now actually 3 wide back there. Vanderbilt loses some more spots as he falls back into the Baker's Dozen position. Bastian Hausman in a battle. They're coming at you. They're coming away from you.
Well, they're going somewhere, and right now, at least they're staying out of each other while they're doing it. But, man, things are really tight up there. That looked like almost Johan Vanderbilt almost tagging a wall there as now they crest the top of the hill, start heading back downhill, all downhill from here kind of until we get back to the front straightaway. Well, actually, the Conrad Straight. You start kind of going up and down a little bit. Johan Vanderbilt gets a little bit loose there at the top, though. It almost gets into Vincent Bream, but they're able to clear each other. How about Hugo Hernandez Gutierrez? He has himself a good start to this race here so far, Sue.
Leaders are now heading to Forest Elbow, going down the back straight for the first time. You could see the break that happened from all the battling that was going on in the first lap where Gutierrez has, there's a break between Gutierrez, Bastian Hausman, Bream, Vanderbilt. They've all lost touch. The lead train is about, let's say it goes all the way back to maybe 9th position, Timo Vascalampi. Little bit of battling up front for 3rd position. That's Cocky. And Fliss now on the outside of the chase. The Slovene machine gets that position, move him up to 3rd. Cocky in 4th, Francisco in 5th.
Lots and lots of just staying in line here so far, Soup. I think trying not to lose that lead pack, knowing that something can happen and fortunes can change very quickly here at Bathurst. But even then, I still got to be concerned about that second group back there. Vincent Bream, Bastian Hausman, and Johan Vanderbilt running 3 wide. They're still trying to get racy. I think they're going to lose a lot of time. Of course, see if Johan Vanderbilt's able to do anything here, but he lost a lot of positions at the start of this race. At least it feels like. I mean, starting 11th, already back to 13th position. I think he found himself back to 14th or 15th there during the course of that lap.
Again, we've got to go back to 12th
go
position.
3 wide here.
Here it is, 3 wide as they go through into the difference bend. They get that sorted out. It's Hausman in the purple and black machine. Bream in there now, moving up on the outside. This is Mikael Hoffadezen. They are scrambling.
And they try to go 3 for 1 right here.
They continue to get it done, though. That's Hoflade on the non-traditional racing line. He tucks back into 13th behind Vandeveld and Bream.
Now, while I did say that it felt pretty stable, this car up at the top of the hill, like what we're seeing, it still didn't feel stable enough that I'd really trusted going too wide too much here. So that's probably why they got themselves straightened out pretty quick. Now, of course, that we're past the first lap, I mean, it's probably better to try to pick guys off one at a time, and maybe not what Hoflade did, try to go 3 at one time.
We don't need to go there. We can report that Colin Reese had a spin. He was racing back outside of the top 20. So what you have now are 2 long strings of cars, long enough for a good game of double Dutch from the girls around the way here, as there's about an 8-car string up front, then about another 8-car string about in 11th position.
Hey,
back for the lead.
David Burns going to try to go for the lead right here going down Conrad. See if he's able to do anything here. I think he's going to be able to clear Euronum.
And he does, and that's Num now hanging to the track left. That's Fliss back there in 3rd position. Fliss right in behind Bream, trying to get up. They get that sorted out as they work through the chase. Watching everything happen from 4th as Pierce short-fill cocky. Remember, we do have a pit stop to be made. Francisco, the Portuguese driver, back in 5th. Tuan Tran got that good qualifying run to get him up into the mix. He picked up. He was racing in 12th. He would have been back in that scramble going on behind him. He's up in the front train now. Calderon, Yunk, and Vascalampi, the 9-car train up front.
Yeah, there's a reason why Soup always brings up the pit stop after bringing up Pierce Short Fill Cocky, because he has Short Fill in his name for a reason.
And now Rugenbrink is coming in. This has to be for repairs. This is not inside the window. He was racing in 20th position.
Yeah, it looks like that front wing is gone.
I honestly, unless the car was really horrible to handle, you almost want to stay out there and see if you can make it to the pit window. Errol Nunn back out in front. He gets around David Burns going into Griffiths Bend. That's the 2nd corner as he's going to lead the train up the hill. They are working lap number 3. It really doesn't matter how many laps. We're racing for 45 minutes. About 40 minutes of racing to go. 9-car train up front. And while you want to be in the train up front, that's always good. Maybe don't want to be back. 9th position is a long way to be back in there. You might want to think if you're Vascalampi or Yunk, eventually you want to start making your way through the train.
Eventually, but you know, as we've pointed out, it's really hard to pass here. I mean, you really only have just a handful of passing opportunities, and the rest of the track you're just kind of hanging on for dear life. Now, but it is surprising to me, Soup, that we still have a 9-car train up front. Bathurst is not a track that lends itself to these big draft packs, except apparently today it does. So a little bit of a different kind of racing that we're used to here down under.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to be better through a technical section than Errol Nunn, but he had no hope of losing Burns or anybody else. In fact, here comes Burns making the pass as they're going to swap position. Fliss back there. Don't be surprised if Flip ducks his nose back here. Those 2 cars up front punch a big hole, looking for somewhere to go. He's Dorothy, and he's got the Lion and the Tin Man in front of him. Not going to be able to do a little dance on the yellow brick road right now. Fliss has to wait in 3rd. Francisco and Cocky.
Yeah, getting a little racy now. Of course, just as soon as we say they're staying in line, but you have Patrick Fliss. We know Patrick Fliss has the speed to try to do something with Euro Num, but first he's got to try to get around him here. But it looks like he's going to lose a little bit of momentum here as we go down the front straight.
This time we're going to give the lead to David 3rd Degree Burns as they come across the line. Let's stay with this group one more time as they go down into Griffiths Bend. We'll see if there's a pass for the lead, and then we'll go back and check the drivers a little bit behind them. But let's stay on this. We'll see if Errol Nunn makes a move. Don't be surprised if Patrick Fliss doesn't lead into corner number 2 when it's all said and done. There goes Errol Nunn. And let's see if Fliss is going to follow Nunn through. Nope, they're just going to swap positions.
Gonna try. That rear wing almost makes contact with David Burns, though, too.
Look at this.
Looks like who's that? Iago Francisco is going to try and take advantage of that and get around Patrick Fliss.
I was saying, don't be surprised if Fliss is going to lead going into Griffiths Bend. He ends up going into 4th. Now these guys will probably stay in line going up and down the hill. So let's drop back to the guy we haven't talked much about. Back to 10th position. Hugo Hernandez Gutierrez. Man, he's got no friends out there. He is all by himself. He's about 4.5 seconds behind the lead train. Being ran down by Vincent Bream. Now remember, Bream was in that mix of cars we saw earlier with Vandevelde, Hofladezen, Crum. They've distanced themselves a little bit. They're not quite as tight as the front train.
Of course, they were being really racy early on, but now it looks like they've calmed down at least a little bit, while the front pack is the group that's really starting to get a little dicey. Hearing that Johan might have had a problem there in Vilmy.
He almost had it off, and I can also report while that was going on, we've lost one of the fan favorites, Edgar Sanginelli. Let's slide on board here with the fan belt. Our director has found it. Whoa! Adam, one of the few places where he can push the boundaries of the envelope of the boundaries there and not find a wall.
Well, I'll tell you, it really depends on what car you try to push the boundaries there, because you do that in a V8 supercar, you're probably going to find concrete. Euro Num up front gets a little bit loose in front of the pack. It's going to give David Burns sole possession of first. Diego Francisco moves into second, and he's under attack from just about everybody else, as Patrick Fliss is going to be on the inside of him here. So move Euro Num down to 4th position based on just getting loose just a little bit.
Now they head into Hell Corner. This is the left-hander that precedes the long front straight. Num in 4th. Look for Pierce Cocky. He has a good run out of Hell Corner to make a move right now. The purple and black attack of Mama Jean Tuan Tran back in 6th. Fuel always an issue, Adam. You got to figure that while Diogo and Burns and Francis and Fliss and Num are all swapping up front, these guys back here like Cocky, Tran, Calderon, they're just saving fuel.
Well, speaking of saving fuel, one guy that's not content to save fuel, Diego Francisco taking a look at the inside of David Burns, going through the technical uphill portion of the racetrack, and they are fighting side by side. That's allowing Patrick Fliss to get back up there.
Francisco cannot finish the pass, but he's right behind Burns. Still looking. Boy, greasing his nose right now is the 48 of Diego Francisco, right up behind the gearbox of Burns.
He's just chilling at this point. I mean, you know, as far as David Burns, he's not really paying attention, but Diego, he's the one that's getting hungry back there. The problem is you get too hungry at Bathurst, well, it'll end up eating you for lunch instead of the other way around. So got to be real careful about how aggressive he is.
Yeah, when you're right up behind a driver like that, he's got to hope that Burns doesn't make a mistake, because he'll be right on him now. Into the elbow. Let's see if the Portuguese driver makes a pass for the lead here. He's got plenty of time to do it. He's about 3 car lengths back. Watch him start to gobble it up. But he's got to be careful to check his mirrors, because here comes Patrick Fliss. Just about when Diogo steps out, Fliss may do the same, and sure enough, let's watch as Fliss pick your poison there. Patrick, who are you going to follow? I think I'll go with the Portuguese driver. Into the chase.
Yeah, that answers your question right there about going too wide through the chase.
Oh, and they get it. Fliss staying right in there with Burns. This is Errol Num getting closer than I would expect to see the Slovene machine get as they head into Murray. They get it sorted out.
And another fan favorite there, Soup, Henrik Kamara has found himself in the pits. It looks like going back he had contact with Bastian Hausman.
Yeah, I believe that's the second time he had been. Well, maybe not. I believe I had a report that Kamara was in before. Bashar has had a problem. We'll see if we can find it. We've got it on replay. Oh, it was with the... That was with... On the outside of him was Bastian Hausman from the purple car there. Bassman had stuck up around the outside. I'm not sure if Bashar knew he was there, and when Bashar went to track out, there wasn't any track. We go watch the Dutch driver here. Comes up behind Bashar.
Obviously, a little bit of contact between those two, but was it actual contact? Was there a little bit of net code involved there? I can't really tell.
Look pretty strong is what we're getting the news from our director.
Oh, Johan Vanderbilt sliding, gets into the tires there, going through Griffin.
Yep, that's going to end his day. He glances him off. Boy, I think he hit it pretty good. We're going to get it on replay.
It doesn't take much to bend the suspension in these cars, and I think those tires did the job pretty effectively for him here. But watch those wheels and see how far they get pushed in right here.
Yeah, he was racing in 20th at the time of the spin. He qualified in 11th. He was having a hard time. Remember, we saw him early on in that big mix of cars. Right now, he needs to take the tow. Back up front, it's the Portuguese driver, Diogo Francisco, out in front, beginning to distance himself from Burns, Fliss, Num happy now to race in fourth. Cocky, Tran, Calderon, Junk, and Vascalampi. 9 cars still. Vascalampi, careful as the caboose starts to lose touch. Let's look up at 6th position. That's Calderon making a move around Tran. Race with 30 minutes to go. I don't believe we've had a legitimate pit stop yet. Some drivers who've had trouble: Rugenbrink, Vanderbilt, Bashar, Kamara, Reese, Mills. Let's give Diogo Francisco credit for leading a lap. There are bonus points for leading a lap here. It's something that the series organizers put in to help encourage a little more excitement up front. Instead of just sitting in a train and riding to the first pit stop, they wanted a little more action.
Seeing Kirk Crum come down pit road, trying to see who that is behind them here. Sebastian Hausman also deciding to go ahead and come down.
Hausman maybe picked up a little damage when he had his trip through the Australian agriculture. They come in early with 30 minutes to go. I honestly think this is fine. We've done enough of these races, Adam. They use the same amount of fuel. The tanks are the same size for their 45 minutes and their 70-minute races. On the 45 minutes races, they can go a long, long time.
They really can. I mean, we've seen some guys go to 5 to 10 laps before. And that's the thing. We saw Michelle Rugenbrink come down pit road, but I went back and looked, and I really didn't see much of a problem. So I really wonder if he came in one of those kind of, what you always like to call the late reveal type of moves.
Early peel, late reveal. That's right.
Early peel, late reveal.
I think he pitted on lap 3, and possibly they could go that far.
Maybe he has the math figured out. So I guess we'll see how he ends up here as the race goes along. But starting to see, Bastian Hausman's one guy that usually has the math figured out going into this thing. So if he is already pitting, well, we know that we're definitely within the pit window now.
Well, you think about it, if you're in a pinata full of bees, and why not just get out of it, race back there by yourself for the first, for a large percentage of the race. Up front, Francisco, Fliss, Burns, Num. Those 4 guys have been swapping positions, and as I say that, here comes the Slovene machine. He's going to jump out into the lead. Francisco goes ahead and says, go ahead. Those 4 guys have been swapping. I think they've each had a share of the lead for a while. The guys who have not been out in front, Cocky, Calderon, Tran, Junk, and Vascalampi. Now let's look at 8th place, Junk. Beginning to lose touch, Adam. Tuan Tran, now maybe the caboose of the lead train.
Yeah, and Yus Junk actually recovering. He went wide there in turn 1 just about a lap and a half ago, and cost him a lot of time. But gaining some of it back is now up front. Patrick Fliss having to fend off Diogo Francisco. Of course, Diogo tried to take a peek there. Just not a lot of length of track there going down the front straight to the pit straight in order to really be able to do anything with it there. I think he's more just letting him know that Patrick Fliss know that he's there and just filling up that mirror a little bit.
And as there is a pass for the lead, again, this is becoming kind of commonplace as the Francisco goes ahead and takes it. We're fortunate to be able to have the driver who hits 2nd in points right now, as we'll stay on this battle a little bit with Francisco, gets it sorted out. He's still in a battle with Errol Num. And of course, I'm talking about Johan Vanderbilt, who had an early exit. Johan, looks like they're settling down. Not your day.
Yeah. Can you hear me well, by the way?
Yes, we got you.
Yeah, that's it's a shame. I had a bad quali, and in the start, I tried to make up some positions as soon as possible to try and close the gap to Eero, but there were some drivers around that I had some problems with in the race, and I got hit by one of them, and that bent my suspension. And then a few corners later, I couldn't control it anymore, and I hit the wall.
Yeah, we saw you early on. I mean, very early on in a battle, just going up the hill. You guys were 2 by 2. It was exciting to see on that first lap.
Yeah, but like I said, it wasn't my intention to do something like that. It was my intention to create a gap to some other drivers as soon as possible. And I couldn't make that happen. So I was stuck with some of the other drivers, and that bit me in the butt in the end.
You know, I'm surprised that there's such a long technical section as there is another pass now for the lead as Francisco goes around Fliss. I'm surprised that drivers like Num, who are fast, weren't able to get away going up and down the hill. The draft, I guess, is just so strong on those straights that it's hard to break it, huh?
Yeah, I think the draft is worth something like 1.5 seconds out there today, so it's huge. So that's a big factor, but also the drivers seem to be very much on par today. Eero was like a few tenths quicker than everyone else in quali, which he usually is. But in race pace, I think he has kind of the same pace as the people around him. So factor that in with the fact that you have such a big draft. And I think I heard David say that he also had hit the wall, so maybe he has some suspension damage as well. So I think that Eero is not as quick as he normally is to maybe create the gap that he's used to.
Well, you were in the championship hunt. You were sitting in second. That's not going to help your championship possibilities. But good luck to you in the final coming up next week.
Yeah, thanks. Good luck, guys. I'll see you soon.
Johan van der Velde. Good driver, great commentator here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Adam?
Yeah, you know, and he brought up the interesting point there about Eero and his pace in this race there, Soup. You know, and one thing that we've usually seen Eero do when it is a race like this where he doesn't exactly have the pace, he usually is going to be one of the guys that might make an early pit stop. Now, the flip side about that, you also heard Johan talk about how big of an impact the draft is having here with the second half on track right now. Eero might be thinking about that also, kind of playing his own devil's advocate and realizing that he doesn't want to lose that much time being out there all alone.
Before we leave, as we ride on board with the Roland Estonian, currently in 5th, don't be surprised if he's letting the guys up in front of him so that he could come in for the pit stops after they go by pit entrance, and he does get that one hot lap. I think traffic is going to be okay for him, that he won't have to worry about it for a while. So if he wanted to do the early peel, I think he'd be all right. So now the train is down to 6. Felipe Calderon, the last car, the caboose. We have lost, I think, Tuan Tran, Jus Jonk, and Timo Vascalampi. Boy, we have spent... Oh, no! In the wall is Tran! And he gets nosed in by Jonk. Out of Forest Elbow.
Oh, just loses the back end, hits the wall. Joost Jonk has nowhere to go. And that's going to be the end of Tuan Tran's day. That's pretty significant contact there.
And a pretty good shot from Jonk as well. Able to avoid it was Timo Vascalampi as he goes around. There you see Timo going by. You won't see Jonk go by because we're going to ride on board with him right now.
This has just been a season forget for Tuan Tran.
This is where there is just... Talk about nowhere to go. Here you are. You're coming out. Your car's got to go that way. Bonk.
You know, I've said numerous times, Soup, that these Skip Barber cars actually work pretty well on the new dirt surface that iRacing has. But you're not supposed to dirt track Forest Elbow. They're just going to throw that out there. We want to kind of try to keep the back end underneath you.
Okay, the Portuguese driver, Diogo Francisco, has decided to come in and take his stop. He was the only leader to do so. That leaves now how many cars out there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Diogo gone. It's really a 6-car battle. We'll watch that. We've got to go back and talk about some of the drivers a little farther back. So how about we go to 12th position. Let's check in on Rob Adams. We see you. Actually, he's in 10th, I guess, right now. Sorry. He's racing all by himself. Diogo Francisco cycles out in 11th, right behind him. Back behind him, Nico Roman in 12th. These guys are all by themselves. No real battles going on there.
Yeah, Mikael Hoffendaisen is also another vehicle that did come down pit road. I believe he is rolling again.
And look at this. Rugenbrink comes out in 14th. Hoffendaisen cycles out in 16th. So, yeah, I think you're right. There's Bastian Hausmann. Hausmann has also made a stop. Remember, he had some issues.
Thomas Kick, Ari Sejas, among those that are coming down pit road. Josh Brain, I believe he's exiting pit road here. So, pit stops are in play.
So who's out in front right now? Well, it's Pierce Cockey. He's managed to cycle up to the lead. Not sure if he got credit. Oh, he did get credit for leading that lap, so he picks up a bonus point for that.
Now we'll see how worried they are. You know, will the rest of these guys come down pit road now that Diago has? Or are they going to wait a little bit and take advantage of the extra time with the draft that he doesn't have right now?
And Francisco is in 11th with clear track in front of him. And he's about 26 seconds behind the leader. These guys have, well, they don't have to come in. Arrow Num sitting 4th in line up front. And we get one.
Here comes Burns.
So now what we'll do with Burns is he comes in, boy, he negotiates the winding entry very well. Let's go ahead and pick up Francisco. Francisco right now is just going through the chase. He's going to be heading to Murraysport. This is pit entrance right here. Burns in his stall. Francisco. Don't be fooled now. He's going by. Oh, and I think he's going to get him. Francisco. Burns is rolling. You save a little bit of time here.
Oh, Pierce Cockey gets way loose right in front of Patrick Fliss. Patrick Fliss is going to get around him. It all happened in Griffins. And Patrick Fliss into the lead based on Pierce Cockey getting loose.
And as Adam was talking about that, we can report that, well, Burns came out right behind Francisco. Francisco gets him going into the Griffin's Bend, but they are nose to tail just like they were before. Let's check in up front, though. Fliss out in front, Cockey, Num, and Calderon. No traffic again back to the guys racing. Francisco all by himself. Well, he's got Burns behind him, but there's no traffic for any of those guys.
You know, I got to think that right now, because of the simple fact that Pierce Cockey got loose right there, that it stacked up all four of those guys. I would say come in now. Limit the damage done by that slide to the group, and otherwise you might be losing quite a bit of time on Diago Francisco back there.
Yeah, Francisco and Burns are behaving very well as the front four cars race now down into the chase. Calderon, the newcomer that he's back there. Usually when we see a guy like that, Adam, they're up there fooling around, but he's been very, very well behaved back there, playing by the rules. Pass for the lead, Cockey out in front.
And we'll see if anybody goes to the Adam Young School of Damage Mitigation here in just a moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose one or two for a pit lane. Coming up to Maurice's to the left, there's the pit end.
Euronum.
One or two. There we go.
And Calderon going to go ahead and join him here. I think that's a smart move. Whoa, did something happen to Euronum there? Okay. Euronum just kind of took a little bit of weird entry there, and the way iRacing works. Didn't come out right on my screen for a moment.
If you're fast enough to stick with Euronum and he comes in, then that means it's your time to come in. What I would do is stay right behind him. As soon, he'll be pitting in front of you, so Calderon will have a good view of him. As soon as Num starts to roll, I hit my button and I'm going too. Now, while this is going on, of course, we're looking for Francisco and these guys. Right now, they are going through. Oh, they jumped them. Adam, you called it. Look at this, Francisco and Burns. Because of the nonsense that was going on up front, you were right, Adam.
Yeah,
they pulled away.
That is a lot of time lost right there.
The good news for Num is he was the pole sitter. He should be fast enough to catch him. The good news for Calderon, he's probably close enough to get on the coattails of Num, and Num can probably race him up to Francisco and Burns right now. Both Francisco and Burns, very, very experienced drivers. They know that they got the Rolling Stone behind them. They are happy.
We got to see right now that difference is over 3.5 seconds between those guys. So Euro Num may be faster, but does he have enough time? I mean, we're only talking about 16 minutes here left in the race. That's going to be a lot of ground to build, to get back, and he's going to need some help to do it.
19 cars still on the lead lap. Let's take this opportunity to get a little screen time to them. How about the last car on the lead cap? The Strudelmeister, Thomas Kick, back there in 19th, a minute and 28 behind the leaders. Just ahead of Kick is REC Haas in 18th spot. Josh Brain racing in what would be now, I guess, 16th. Oh, we forgot Rugenbrink. Rugenbrink's in there. There we go. Then up to 16th for REC Haas. 18th, we're going to get this right. Let's kick one. Let's go up one more. How about we go to Josh Brain? Did we show him yet? He's in 16th. Last one we'll talk about, Rob Adams in 15th. Just look at the screen, Soup. I've been doing this for a while. That'll work. All right. Our leaders.
Staying out another lap at least.
Going around again, and we're talking about Fliss and Cocky. So let's set the stage. Fliss and Cocky, they are well out in front. Then there's another two cars that we're looking at. We're going to jump all the way down to the drivers in 7th. That's Francisco. Actually, 6th and 7th. Burns now out in front of Francisco. And then right behind them, there's about a gap between Francisco back to Num. Num does not seem to be doing much with that, and it's Num and Calderon.
No, in fact, that gap, talk about not doing much with it. No, Soup, it's actually expanded by a second. It was 3.5 seconds. Now it's 4.5 seconds. So Euro Num losing ground.
You're wondering, why didn't I talk about Vascalampi, Junk, Bream, those guys who are racing 3rd, 4th, and 5th? Well, they had lots of touch with the train. They still have a pit stop to make, but unless they're incredibly fast when they make their stop, they're not going to be part of this mix. In fact, they have made their pit stop now. Well, Vascalampi in 7th. Look at this. Vascalampi has made his stop. He's back behind Calderon now. Brahim has also made his stop. Yeah. We're only waiting on everybody has made their stop. We're just waiting on the front two. They are working lap number 13. Not important. What is important is the timer you see in the upper left of your screen there. Just over 13 minutes of racing to go. Here comes a pass for the lead, I believe. Fliss is going to go to the right.
And Soup, because I already know you're going to ask me, where would I want to be coming down to the white flag? And I'll tell you, I want to be in first, because I know I'm going to get past on the mountain straight, and then I know I can get him back on the Conrad straight. And that's been kind of what's been going on between these two guys, so I'm just going to get that out of the way right now.
Okay, I got it. You want to be first across the line you want to be first to the white flag lap, but you want to be second out of Forest Elbows. Our leaders start to come in. Now be careful here. This is tricky negotiation. This is really, you can save some time through that little run-up area. Then you got to get on the binders. Fliss and Cocky do a good job of that. Remember, if you're new to this series, Pierce Cocky has a nickname, Short Fill. Notorious for taking not enough fuel. If he lives up to his nickname, he'll be out first before Fliss, and he'll run out of fuel heading towards the checkered flag. All right, here comes Burns into Murray's, going across the start-finish line. My gut tells me they're going to get out first. Yeah, I think Burns are going to pass them. It'll be close. Other guys are starting to roll. Now, Cocky and Fliss are going to get out first, but they won't have the engine up to full song yet. The cars on the left are coming out of pit lane. Burns has that little engine wound all the way up. side by side. Nevertheless, they are all together.
Ooh, that is a pack there. Look at how that worked out. And so the question becomes, how did Euro Num and Calderon lose so much time?
Yeah. Our director makes the point that maybe Errol pitted too soon after that little incident that the lead cars had, that he wasn't able to make up the time. These guys stayed out longer. I'm talking about Fliss and who else would have been? Fliss and Cocky stayed out a long time. Nevertheless, you got 4 cars up in front right now. They race. Burns, Fliss, Francisco, Cocky. I don't think any one of those guys are going to lose touch with each other. 5 seconds, Adam, from Cocky back to the Roland Estonia.
Yeah, continuing to see that slip now. Another 0.6 of a second gone between Pierce Cocky and Euro Num. By gone, I mean Pierce Cocky and the rest of the gang up there checking out.
You know, that's the salt in the wound to Johan Vanderbilt, who we talked to, chasing Num in the points. Num racing in 5th right now. What an opportunity. Vanderbilt could have easily had the talent to be racing up front for the win.
Well, on the flip side of that, too, with Euro Num back there in 5th, he's not up in the lead, so it does kind of limit some of the damage done. But I do think, Soup, that unless something happens to Euro Num here, I think that's going to pretty much lock away the championship for him, as long as he's able to get in that top 5 here today.
5th should be enough to make it a good run. And we've done enough interviews with Euro Num. He already knows the math right now. He already knows where he needs to finish to get the championship, which he wants badly. Looking at the top 4, just under 10 minutes of racing to go. Gotta give some love to the guy in 6th. Let's drop back to Felipe Calderon. What do we know about Felipe? Let's flip over here, see if I can figure out. A big mistake from Calderon. Into Murray's, and I think he's going to be able to salvage this one. He goes over the curb, and oh my goodness. Another one of those areas where you're lucky to come away without any car damage. Good news is, he started to lose touch now. He's fallen back almost a second behind Num. We have somebody off track, not sure who that was. Front 4 continue to be Fliss, Burns, Francisco, Cocky. Not sure what order they're in right now. That's what they were the last time I checked.
Yeah, they'll be in a different order the next time you check it.
Yeah. 4 cars up in front. I think you could be in 3rd position. We have seen this many a times in this Skippy coming out of Forest Elbow. We could see 3 wide down into the chase on the final lap, Adam.
Oh, it could, and I think with the way these cars are driving here, the chase might actually be able to support 3 wide.
Yeah.
But I would not want to be the guy on the outside of that.
Yeah, if you're in 4th, you just kind of hope that they do go 3 wide and they can't get it figured out. Right now, the driver in 4th is Pierce Cocky. Just to follow up on maybe pit stop times and why Errol Num might have had trouble, it wasn't because of his stop. It was because of his stop. Errol Num in the pits for 15.7 seconds. Cocky was 11, Burns was 12, Francisco was 12, Fliss was 12.
Well, there you go. It makes me wonder if maybe he just didn't have the fuel set up right and ended up taking more fuel than what he needed.
Yeah, or maybe he took exactly what he needed, and these guys have all underestimated. Riding on board with Pierce Shortfield Cocky, and you can hear him just being patient, lifting, saving, waiting. 7 minutes of racing to go. Where do they want to be on the white flag lap? Do they have enough fuel to race full throttle? Is Arrow Numb the guy who can race full throttle and try to run him down? Well, right now that's not happening as he's dropped another second. So, of course, a 4-car train probably moving a little faster than Numb is all by himself. Felipe Calderon has made up about a half second on Numb, as you can see him in the very back of your screen there coming up. Boy, those 4 cars racing nose to tail. Our top rookie, Timo Vascalampi, in 7th, all by himself. Quickly to 8th position. Nice little battle. Yus Junk and another 2 Stupid Dog driver. That team well on the way to the championship. Vincent Brame. They battle for 8th. Rounding out your top 10, Hugo Hernandez Gutierrez. Look at that battle for 8th, settling down a bit.
Ooh, Timo Vascalampi is... I think he might have gotten into the wall. Yeah, he did. Watch the replay here on the GSRC replay, and you know, once you start down there, that's the tightest portion of the racetrack. You see a lot of track blockages there, and unfortunately Timo almost became one of them.
Boy, there's only 5 minutes of racing to go, and he's not able to limp the car home. He was in 7th position. Top rookie was having a good run. Okay, let's go up front. This is getting serious now. That's Fliss. Fliss to the right. Francisco to the left. They head into Maurice. Francisco will be in the preferred position. Fliss will have the momentum. Watching everything as Burns. Another left-hander coming up now as they head to corner number 1.
There should be 2 to go. We should be getting a white flag next time by.
Oh, going really wide is Diego Francisco. He's going to lose all of his momentum. He tried to stay on the throttle. Did a pretty good job of it. Fliss is going to be able to run him down.
And look how he tries to move over. He's trying to use that stock car racing technique of a side draft right there to try to limit the damage done. He's hanging in there with it.
Was trying to make the room for Burns almost impossible to get there. Now he ducks inside. They continue to race next to each other as they start to go to the cutting. Here comes the left-hander. Up the hill they go. Through Quarry Corner. It is Diego Francisco chasing Patrick Fliss. Burns in 3rd. Pierce Cockey too far back to be a factor right now. We'll focus most of our attention for the final 3.5 minutes of this race up front. Fliss leading the 4-car train through the twisty technical section into the S's. They start to go downhill. This will be their next to the last bite here of the Forest Elbow. They go to the Dipper. Out of the elbow.
Ooh, that's a big gap going down Conrad between Patrick Fliss and Diego Francisco. I think Diego might have a run on him here once they get to the chase.
He's about 4 car lengths back, 3 car lengths back, 2 car lengths back. He's there now. He ducks. Fliss keeps his car to the left. He has nothing for Francisco. Francisco is going to be first into the chase. Fliss, Burns, Cockey back there still watching the show. They're coming up to the final lap.
And it could be important. If something chaotic happens up front, Calderon has gotten past Euro Numb. So, if there ends up being chaos erupting here, Calderon could be in a prime position.
Working on the last lap. Now it's a game of chess. Where do you want to be coming out of corner 19, heading towards the chase? Francisco up in front. Fliss may not want to make the pass here. He may want to defend. Burns in 3rd. I can't believe Cockey's happy in 4th. He's right up on the gearbox of Burns. They continue to race the line. Cocky says, I've got to make the move. He moves to the outside as they head to Griffin Bends. Now they start to accordion up. They negotiated okay. Burns and Cocky have to be careful that they don't horseplay too much and lose touch with the leaders. It's still Francisco up in front of Fliss. According to my partner Adam Young, Fliss is right where he needs to be.
I think Diago's slowing him up a little bit right there. I think he's intentionally trying to keep that pack a little bit closer.
Now they go up the hill. It'll be hard to make a pass up here. Only person maybe who would really want to make a pass is Cocky. He can't be feeling good in fourth position. Burns has got to think there'll be room for me as I'll make it 3 wide going into the chase. I can do that. This could all come down to corner exit out of 19. They head down. Oh, maybe a mistake.
Head down for a big mistake.
Francisco, I'm not sure if he got the wall, but what he did lose was a lot of momentum, and that gives Fliss the spot if he wants it. Here it is. They head down the back straight for the last time. Does Francisco's car still have anything under it? Did it get damaged? I don't think so. I think it's okay. He's in second position. This is maybe where he wants to be. He makes the dive. The question is, where will Burns go? Burns, there's not enough pavement, but he manages to get there. Burns gets Fliss. Now he's coming. He gets Francisco from third to first. Down into the chase, but there's still time as they are 2 wide into the chase now. They got to get it sorted out. Cocky has nowhere to go in fourth. Burns is a little bit loose. He gets a tap from Fliss. This gives Cocky a chance to get up there, but what it's done is left the Portuguese driver to run away with it. 1 corner to go through Murray's. It's going to be Diogo Francisco. If he can keep the car on the pavement, he does. Give him the win. Burns gets second. Fliss gets third. Cocky gets fourth. Calderon beats Errol Numb to round out the top 5. Numb crosses the line slowly in 6th. Bream gets Junk. Let's see if we can pick up any other battles out there. I just don't see any, as Hausman looks like he's going to come across safe. Adams is going to be safe. Kurt Crum, let's follow him as he works through Murray Corner. He's going to miss the top 10. He's going to come home in 12th. One of the Roman boys in the Baker's Dozen spot, Nico. Michel Rugenbrink, we saw him make that early stop. He actually had to make a second stop as he comes home in 14th. Ari Seahas. And the Strudelmeister coming home in sweet 16th. That'll do it for the racing here on the Global SimRacing Channel, but our broadcast is far from over. What we're going to do is take a short break, back to run down the rest of the order who finished more than a lap down, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League. Welcome back to GSRC's coverage of Formula Neagle. Round number 7 here at Bathurst. Let's go ahead and give you the finishing order. First time winner. We thought it was going to happen, and it does. Diogo Francisco, the Portuguese driver, picks up the win in an exciting race, beating out David Burns and Patrick Fliss. Pierce Cockey was in 4th. Those entire last laps, was not able to make up any ground. Felipe Calderon rounds out your top 5. Errol Num finishes 6th, and even though Johan Vandervelde had issues, Vandervelde is not going to be a factor for the championship, but David Burns is still mathematically in the hunt. Burns will actually close the gap on Num a little bit, so Errol still got a little bit of work to do before he can claim his 6th championship. Vincent Bream, Yus Jonk, Hugo Hernandez Gutierrez comes home in 9th, rounding out your top 10, the Mama Jean driver Bastian Hausmann. Adam?
Yeah, going back to 11th, a guy that we didn't hardly talk about at all today, snuck in there in 11th position, Rob Adams. And then in 12th, Kurt Crum, Nico Roman in 13th, Michelle Rugenbrink in 14th position. One of the first cars to come down pit road today was Michelle. Ari Sejas in 15th, Thomas Kick in 16th position, Josh Brain 17th. And a couple of guys that found some problems, Timo Vascalampe in 18th, Mikael Hoppeldays in 19th, Tuan Tran just has not been his year at all, coming home in 20th.
You know, 25 drivers started, 16 of them finished on the lead lap, so attrition not quite as severe as it was the last time they were here. Hidden Blackjack, Edgar Sancinelli, we talked to him mid-race, hidden the double duck position, Johan Vandervelde, his championship hopes are over. Floris Bashar in 23rd, 24th, and 25th, Hendrik Kamara and Colin Reese. I think only 25 drivers took the grid. Let's go ahead and see who we can talk to in the interview booth. Adam, I'm going to let you talk to our race winner, Diogo Francisco.
Yeah, Diogo, fantastic run here today. Coming down the white flag lap, you're coming down the downhill portion of the racetrack, and it almost looked like disaster struck, but you were able to pull it out. Tell us about that last lap.
I mean, what do you want me to say? That was intense. I made mistakes left and right. To be honest, that was my worst lap probably during the race, and it was not because of that last lap that I deserved this, to be honest. But yeah, it was very intense. I don't know how I managed to keep it out of the wall there. It was just, I don't know, I was just very nervous going downhill that last one.
So what you're saying is that sometimes it's better to be lucky than good when it comes to winning races, right?
Well, yeah, that's what it seems. Yeah, pretty much. Today, that's one example.
Well, of course, you were able to really get up there based on when you were able to come down pit road. Once you came down pit road, you saw where everybody else filtered out. How did you feel like you were still going to be able to be in the running for this race?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I did that mistake where I went wide and I got just a slow down, I got passed by like 5-6 cars, and I didn't want to bother just passing through the traffic call again because I would just be risking. And since it was inside the pit window, I just decided, well, let's just cool off and collect it in the pit road and just put in the laps after, which I was able to do, luckily.
Well, of course, next time up, we're going to Imola, looks like, for the final race of the season. Obviously, a very, very different track than what we had here at Bathurst here for today. What do you think about your chances at Imola? You be able to come back back-to-back wins to end the season?
I'm not sure. This has been such an off-and-on season. It's some races I can make it, some others I can't. I don't know. I'll just try to show up and do my best if I can.
All right. Well, there's your winner, folks, Diogo Francisco. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk to you again in Imola here in a few weeks.
Diogo Francisco, congratulations. He picks up his first career win. Now we'll talk to a driver that has won before, but he wasn't able to do it today. David Burns coming home in second. You were in position. Nowhere for you to go. You ran out. If the track was wider, it might have been a little easier for you, but you still managed to get by.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, Soup, because after the race, Diogo and I just said a few words, and I was kind of hoping on him sliding off. I thought, there's no way you're going to carry that speed, but he did. I was like, darn it. So I was quite happy with second.
Now, here's the good news. With Num's for whatever reason, he came home in 6th. You can throw Vanderbilt out of the mix, but you are still mathematically in the hunt. If relatively close, maybe by 11, 12 points back.
Yeah, I can give you exactly, so because I've just done the standings. I'm 11 points behind him, but statistically, knowing Euro, it's a long shot. It really is a long shot. But the better news is I think Vincent and I have the team championship. I don't think we can be beaten because I think we're 60 points ahead of Euro.
Man, you guys have, for Two Stupid Dogs, you guys have really been crushing it. Vincent Bream, your partner, came home in 7th today, so another 2nd and 7th. Nice job.
He's been really consistent. He's really up to consistency, so it's really good. So I'm really pleased with that.
Well, congratulations. You put on a good show. Oh, I'll get you out of this on this. Pit stops and fuel. You were good. Oh, you had to figure it out okay?
No, absolutely perfect. So when I saw Diogo go in, I thought, he's quite fast. If nobody's going to go in with him, I'm going to go the next lap. And I'm really glad I did, because when I saw Eero take his stop and then come out 3 seconds, I think I know why Eero was a little slow. He clipped a wall 2nd or 3rd lap, and it gave him a slightly squint right rear wheel. And I think in the draft he was fine, but on his own it meant he couldn't hold the same times.
Ah, that's great. Thanks for letting us know that. Yeah, it was because it was. You got the impression that something wasn't quite right, because we've seen Aero race enough to know something's off. Yeah. In fact, he actually got past Felipe Calderon, got around him early on. I'll get you out on this point. We want to keep the interview short, but I can't help myself. Early on with the long train, what's the thinking? Stay up near the front, I guess, was what you were thinking? Yeah,
stay 2nd, at least 3rd. Although with the early laps, I was able to stay on Eero's tail quite a bit. So I thought, well, if I get in front of him a couple of times, that's fine. It keeps you up at the front. But yeah, because I'm probably not as good as Eero at staying behind. I would just make a silly mistake and lose it. So 3rd was as far back as I wanted to stay.
All right, David, congratulations for 2nd. Congratulations on the win for Two Stupid Dogs. And little bit of luck. Bit of luck coming up. You got a chance at it. All right, man. Good luck.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
David Burns. Good driver. Great interview. Let's go ahead and talk to, we're going with Patrick Fliss next. We'll see how that played out. Adam?
Yeah, Patrick Fliss, of course. Unfortunately, Patrick, you weren't able to join us last time out there a couple weeks ago. But you came back today, stormed to a podium finish in 3rd position. But unfortunately, I believe you're out of the championship running after missing last week. But still, a heck of a run here today. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think I actually missed 2 races, not sure. But yeah, as great as this race was, I'm really disappointed. I was on the top of the hill on the last lap. I was 80% sure I was going to win if it stayed like it was. My gap to Diogo was perfect. So I would have gotten by right towards the end of the straight to the chase. And yeah, that was my plan. Then he screwed up, and then I got screwed up because I had to go by.
So just a calamity of errors there at the tail end of the race. But even then, I mean, once you realized what had happened, did you feel like you had any hope of holding off Burns for 2nd?
I don't know. It was all so close. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what happened the last 2 turns.
Well, talk to us a little bit about the style of racing here today. Obviously, a lot of drafting, which isn't something that you'd normally see at Bathurst. Did that make it fun throughout the course of the day for you?
I mean, during the race, yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can race the whole time. You don't even have to worry about making little mistakes because you'll catch right back up. And yeah, it's a great combo. It feels really fun. But in the end of the day, only the last lap counts for the first 4 cars, 3 or 4 cars. So it's all the luck of the draw in the end, like roll of the dice, who wins.
All right. Well, it was good talking with you, Patrick, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again here in 2 weeks when we take on Imola.
Yep. See you, I think.
Patrick Fliss. Interesting, Adam, as you listen to the interviews, the mistake from Diogo going up the hill, or actually, I guess, down the hill, ended up being the best thing that could have happened to him because it forced Fliss by, put Fliss in the lead where he didn't want to be, and then Diogo was able to get him on the back straight.
Yeah, it really seems like it there, Soup. I mean, it just one thing led to another on that last lap there.
16 cars finished on the lead lap. That's pretty good here for out of the 25 that took the grid. One of the drivers that fell victim to Bathurst was a fan favorite, Mikkel Hofladezen. Mikkel, it bit you, huh?
Yeah, the track bit me today. Actually, what happened was coming up the hill, I tried to shift down to second gear. The car wouldn't let me shift down, so I stayed in third, too much speed, and I kissed the wall, basically.
I know you're doing a lot of racing here on GSRC. We're seeing you a lot now. You're racing in the sister series over there in the IR18, the Dallara. How you liking that car? We carry those every alternate Saturdays.
Ooh, I like it, but I think you saw yesterday I didn't like the wall again.
You feel more competitive still in the Skippy than you do in the Dallara?
Yeah, I mean, as I noticed they were going to do an IndyCar league, I basically started with the IndyCar. I didn't have any racing in it before, so I'm completely new to that car. So yeah, I feel a lot more safe and confident in the Skippy, except today though.
A lot of road racers find ovals boring. You find yourself losing concentration when you only get to turn left?
Well, yes and no. I mean, turning left is harder than it looks. Yeah, it's hard for me as a road racer to say that, but it is. It really is.
Well, we're going to look forward to seeing that one. This series coming up, closing up here in a couple weeks, but the IndyCar one's going on for a little while longer. Good luck the rest of the way, wherever we see you on the Global SimRacing Channel.
Yeah, thank you.
Mikael Hofladason, the best of luck to him as a lot of the drivers racing in multiple series now on the GSRC. We are carrying, looks like 15, soon to be maybe 16 series as we continue to get more busy as the months go by. Thank you to everybody at the Absolute Beginner League. Talk about being busy. We've been with these guys for a long, long time, and boy, they always put on a good show. Thanks for contracting with GSRC to be your broadcast company of choice. Thanks to the company's equipment and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast. The original music that gives every GSRC broadcast that unique flavor and feel is thanks to Eric Echolm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them. Adam?
Yeah, Formula Neagle's going to return here in 2 weeks on the 29th of April. And let me see if I can pronounce this right. I always just call it Imola. Autodromo Internazionale Enzo E. Dino Ferrari. Did I do it right?
That's not good.
I totally butchered it.
That's not going to get the Italian women looking at you with any good eyes. Okay, keep going, man.
GSRC is going to be there to bring you all the action. We're going to hope you join us. Slide and cross your screen now. We're going to be some upcoming broadcasts. So check those out as well and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. And while you're here, if you haven't done it yet, hit the subscribe button down there, that little red button, white lettering says subscribe right there on the YouTube channel.
Finally, on behalf of the entire GSRC crew, the man sitting next to me, Adam Young, our director, Joe Peak, and of course, our camera guru, Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun. Storm of the Castle. GSRC is done for this Sunday. It's time for us to watch some Walking Dead later tonight. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.